Okay, the mine we just came out of, Mr. Box, is back around the corner where that air shaft entrance was. So we're coming up here, and man, this looks like a wooden tipple right here. I think it is, man. Wow. Check that out, man. Now that is cool as hell. There's rails stacked up on it right here, laid up against the vertical. Wow, man, that is neat. Now there's supposed to be maybe another mine back here. Now that is pretty cool. So this is probably, they didn't run a rail line up here. This was built in the 30s or late 30s, 40s. This is for the truck mines, because this is what these mines were converted into. Before, in the early 1900s, these mines, all the coal, I mean, coming out of these mines, was taken all the way down to the river, and it went up an inclined tramway to the rail bed, to the rail tipple, way up on top. So, which is much further back. But that is pretty neat, man. Get down there and take a look at that in a minute. You've got tons of wood remains. So there's probably another mine up here. So, like I said, the things you find in the woods, off the beaten path. Yeah, so the mine cars came out over here, deposited the coal straight down into the coal trucks. Looks like they had room for, I guess, at least one coal truck right here. There's a section of old tramway rail. Pretty neat. Yeah, they're up here and everywhere. Okay, so this is just a ground view of the base of the tipple right here. And you got the rails everywhere. But what's neat, man, I've only seen one of these outside of a mine, man. That's a self-acting tipple right there. They would push the mine cars in, and it had a chassis underneath, and they would just tip the mine car over. Contents would be dropped down into, well, what would have been a rail car, but you know, this was a coal truck mine. So, but wow, very neat. I think, Mr. Box, yeah, look, that's part of a mine cart right there. That's the frame of it right there. It was probably sitting up here. They just abandoned it, wood rotted, and it just fell through along with the self-acting tipple. Pretty neat, man. And at one time, you say with that sheet metal, they probably had this covered right here. So, and the trucks would just drive out along the old tramway bed. Pretty neat. So we're going to be heading up in this direction in a minute. Okay, this is looking back in the direction of the tipple, right down below where Mr. Box is. So you've got your minecart tramway bed here. So there's probably the remains of a coal drift mine back in here somewhere, which would make sense. I mean, look at all that's tailings, man. Coal tailings everywhere. So, all right, let me get up over here and take a look. One drift mine right here, and we have got another drift mine up here where all this water's pouring out. Up around the corner here, man. Maybe, I'm not sure. But that's definitely a mine. And usually when, it's hard to believe, but usually when you see a lot of water running off like this, it's coming out of these drift mines, man. Well, you had one drift mine there, another one right there. So, okay, this is coming off the top of the mountain right here, so that's natural. So, but there was one here and one right there. But we'll go over here and check this one out. Okay. Haven't turned on my light yet, but yeah, it looks open. Let me take my backpack off and pull a light out and see what it looks like. Okay, well, it's got water, of course, because there's water coming down outside below. But you can see the top portion here is collapsed in. I'm not sure how deep the water is. Probably not that deep, but don't know what the roof looks like. If Mr. Box wants to give it a try, I'm sure he will, but I'm gonna hang out on this one, you know. So, but anyway, I'll wait for him to, he's coming up behind me here. Let him eyeball this. No fear. He's heading on in. All right, well,
just a little bit.
all right. Are you on it?
It might be totally collapsed.
I got you.
I'm not feeling much air coming out.
Got you.
And I see a collapse right here.
Okay. Yeah, this isn't really a particularly good roof cover. A lot of loose shale, sandstone. So, all right. Well, he'll be back in just a minute. While I'm waiting on Mr. Box, here is the remains of minecart right here. You can tell all the wood is gone, but the chassis is still there with the wheels. Pretty neat. All right, and he's over there. He came out of the mine. He said it was collapsed. So what we're going to do is probably keep heading in this direction along the ravine. And once we get up there to the end, we'll double back on the other side of the creek. So, all in all, very good morning so far. Okay, whenever this site was abandoned, man, they must have just packed their bags and walked away. They had a little trestle right here, and had the minecart rails, the tramway rails going right over it. So the wood just collapsed and just took the rails down to where they are now. So we're going to be heading off in this direction. Okay, just proceeding further up this deep ravine along the remains of this tramway bed. We're probably over a quarter of a mile away from the river, and possibly have another coal drift mine. It's either a really nice overhang or it's a mine.
You can see the coal seam, but it's collapsed.
It's collapsed?
Let me check this side.
Yeah. Well, at one time, man, that must have been a nice opening. No joy?
I gotta take my light out to see in this one. It's gonna be
Okay. Take your time.
back breaker if it is open.
All right. Well, don't do it if you don't need to.
Oh, I'm not.
All right. You look at the, that's a drift mine Mr. Box is going into.
It's collapsed.
Yeah. Well, look at the age of that tree. It tells you how. I mean, these mines have been closed for probably 80 years, you know. So, all right, we'll keep proceeding this way.